All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Have the roll call, please.
Commissioner Walker,
Here.
Commissioner Scully,
Here.
Commissioner Warnick,
Here.
Commissioner Aldenreed,
Here.
Mayor Marion. Mayor Marion is absent.
Just so you all know, Mayor Marion's grandfather fell down the steps this evening, and he's on his way to the hospital, and that's where the mayor is. We'll rise and have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is approval of the town meeting minutes for July 14th. Do I have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion is approved. Reporting of executive sessions, July 11th and July 29th. Calvin, do you have those?
Yes, I do. On July 11th, 2015, at 9:09 in the morning, the mayor and commissioners met on the second floor of the town hall for an executive session. A motion to open the meeting was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Scully. The vote of the elected body, or the elected body present, were Mayor Marion, Commissioner Aldenreed, Commissioner Warnick, and Commissioner Scully. The vote to open the meeting was 3-0. A motion was made to hold an executive session made by Commissioner Scully, seconded by Commissioner Warnick. That vote was 3-0. The reason for the executive session, as provided for by the Maryland Open Meetings Act, was one, to discuss personnel. The second reason was to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential liability. The topics discussed was personnel. The persons other than the elected body at the meeting present was Calvin A. Bonenberger Jr., the town administrator. The action items taken at the meeting, there was a motion made by Commissioner Scully, seconded by Commissioner Aldenreed, to seal the minutes of the meeting as provided for by law. That vote passed 3-0. A motion was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Scully, to leave executive session. That vote passed 3-0. A motion was made by Commissioner Aldenreed, seconded by Commissioner Scully, to adjourn the meeting. That vote passed 3-0. The meeting was adjourned at 9:56 a.m. That's the July 11th executive session. On July 29th, 2015, at 7:05 p.m. on the third floor of the town hall, a executive session was held. A motion to open the meeting was made by Commissioner Scully, seconded by Commissioner Aldenreed. The members in attendance at the meeting were Commissioner Aldenreed, Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Warnick, and Commissioner Scully. The vote to open the meeting was 4-0. A motion was made by Commissioner Scully, seconded by Commissioner Aldenreed, to hold an executive session. That vote was 3-0. Citation for the reason under the Maryland Open Meetings Act to have the meeting was to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. And item 9, to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that related to the negotiations. The topics discussed at this meeting was Chester Waterline, rate model studies, general overview of engineering, and the bond closing for the sewer plant. The persons in attendance at the meeting, other than the elected body, and let me clarify, at the beginning when I talked about the number of the elected body that was present was 4, that first vote was a 3-0 vote because Commissioner Warnick arrived at the meeting at 7:20, so he wasn't here for the first vote. That's why it was 3-0. picking up again, members or people in attendance other than the elected body was Town Attorney Jay Gullo, Joe Mason from Davenport and Associates, Kimberly Min, the bond counsel, Michael Klein, Chester Water negotiations attorney, and Calvin Bonneberger Jr., the town administrator. The motions made at the meeting was to seal the minutes of the meeting by Commissioner Scully, seconded by Commissioner Warnick. That vote was 4-0. To leave executive session, a motion was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Arthurreith. To leave executive session, that motion passed 4-0. A motion was made by Commissioner Warnick, seconded by Commissioner Scully to adjourn the meeting. That motion passed 4-0, and the meeting was adjourned at 10:17 p.m. That concludes the executive session reports.
Thank you. We have no public presentation. The next item would be contract for Ryan Drive bid specs. Commissioner Rothenreith?
Calvin, did everyone get a copy of this? I got one. Okay. This contract it's a lot of the legal terminology, but what it basically is our agreement with KCI for them to put together the specifications for 3 different areas of Ryan Drive. It looks like we're only going to be able to do one section of the road, and that was the part damaged this past winter with the 12 water connection breaks. But they are going to put together a bid spec to cover the whole road, and that's why the price is kind of high. What we are looking to do for the residents of Ryan Drive before the weather gets bad on us is, as you know, when those connections failed, we started digging that road up, we found that the underlayment of the asphalt on the cul-de-sac at the top of Ryan Drive was laid directly down on red clay dirt. It did not have the proper sub-base underneath. So to go back in there and fix that road properly, one of the things that we had hoped to do was one of the things we're definitely going to do is replace the rest of the connections that have not failed yet, because they're probably ready to. We wanted to go back in there with new piping so that once we asphalt this road and put the proper sub-base in, we know we have a good 30 to 40 years of not having to worry about that upper section of road. But that is very expensive. We couldn't get grant money to cover it. We're able to get low interest loan money. So we're going to go in and repair the top end section of that road. But KCI is going to put together the bid specs for us, which will go out very soon, won't they, Calvin? Because, here we are at the end of August, and we've got about 2 months to fix this road, do this road before the weather cools off to where they can't do good asphalt. So this, like I said, this is mostly contract language in this, but I make a motion to approve payment to KCI of $45,885 to put together the bid specs and put them out, so we can put those out to bid to fix Ryan Drive. And this will, we're definitely going to do the upper cul-de-sac from, is it Sunrise?
That's correct. Sunrise to the cul-de-sac.
Sunrise Circle around to the end of the cul-de-sac where we had all those failures this winter. And those residents up there, feel your pain. I ride through there to see how it's going. You have about 12 potholes. It looks like small bombs were dropped all over that road, and they've dealt with it all summer. So these bid specs, because our last meetings were canceled, and they've already been doing some work on it, because they've done all of that work that we approved before to go in and inspect all the stormwater drains and all the streets and sidewalks. So they already have a lot of that work done. So they are also preparing specs to go from 273 all the way up Ryan Drive, just in case we find out that the rest of that road was not done properly. So my motion is on the floor for approval for this money for KCI to put together the bid specs for Ryan Drive.
That's for the total Ryan Drive from 273 up.
This, now, Kelvin, am I wrong? This will include, this is going to give us the specifications that we can put out to bid for the existing part at the top. They are also including some estimates in this if we are allowed, if we find grant money, so we can come on down, so we know what we're dealing with on the rest of the road.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any more comments?
This is the engineering work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that they can we can put it out to bid.
Yeah.
And know that what we're putting out to bid is the road, especially that upper section that we found only had a couple of inches of asphalt right on red clay, not the proper sub-base.
The majority, go ahead.
We're going to have that road done properly.
The majority of the expenses for the part that we are in fact going to repair, as opposed to the extra parts that we may or may
Right.
not be able
We
to
are going to
catch up.
redo the top end where all those failures were for those connections.
And that's where the bulk of this work
Yes.
is.
Any more comments?
And this also, Calvin, when he did the budget this year, this money was budgeted because, the less we have to borrow, the better, less we are in debt. So this was budgeted, knowing that we were going to have to do this, because we've been, like I said, dealing with this since last winter.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. And sorry,
Go ahead.
Mr. Walker. We haven't forgot about Ryan Drive. This is just, if we had the money in the bank, this would have already been done. And we've kind of hoped the developer would have reached out to us and reached out to the contractors that he had do that job for some help, but no such luck. So it's, I know it's been drug out, and I'd hate to be living up there, but it is going to get fixed. We are going to take care of this before the weather changes and asphalt season is closed.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is the citizens' input. If someone would bring me the sign-in sheet. Joanne, you're first.
Joanne Osborne, Rising Sun. What I have given to each of you is information on removable speed bumps. I've been saying we need speed bumps on several streets, and I saw these at the Pennsylvania Farm Show complex as I was driving out. They had these to slow down the traffic so we wouldn't overrun the little box there. So they really do work. And when I saw them, I noticed that they are jointed, and you can roll them up, and you can put them on my street today for a week, and you can put them on Walnut Street for a week, or you could put them on Pearl Street for a week. Get people to realize that they really do need to slow down in town. And my suggestion would be that the town buys 10 of them and move them around accordingly where we have people who don't know how to read 25 miles an hour. And as an additional point, I would like to say, I don't know if we have any children at play signs, but Cherry Street definitely needs children at play signs on both ends. We have a pedestrian sign on the Wilson Avenue end, but that just says kids are walking to school. We don't have any children at play signs, and people totally ignore the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, especially those people who belong to the fire company who think they have to get there at the speed of light. So I would appreciate a children at play sign, and I would appreciate you considering these removable speed bumps. I myself would pay for one if necessary. I've actually thought about buying it and putting it in front of my house. So please give it some thought, and thank you very much.
Joanne, is this stoppainting.com, is that the company, or is it this other company on the back, Insight Solutions? Who actually do we contact?
My glasses aren't in here.
Yeah, on the back page, it's, I was just curious. We'll look into it. Those are pretty interesting.
I don't know where my glasses are, but they're not in here, so.
Okay.
I can't read it without my glasses.
That's
but,
okay.
This is, I went online and just put in speed bump, removable speed bumps.
Yeah.
Because when you just put in speed bumps, you get these wide things that you put down and you nail them in and they're there. So I just kept looking through the various sites until I came to this one, and this is exactly what I saw at the Harrisburg Farm Show complex. And I thought, wow, that really would solve a number of problems, because in the wintertime when it snows, we can take them up and store them, and they won't damage our snow removal equipment, which
Okay.
was the main issue with having speed bumps to begin with.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, did you see that address?
Brenda Maynard?
No, flip it over. That right there is what I was asking her about. That com-
There they are. They weren't in my purse because I'd taken them out.
Brenda Maynard, I live at 33 Louise Court in Valley View. Okay. First of all, we're talking about sidewalks and road repair. New sidewalks were put in 2005, 2006. Within 3 months after them being put in, they're messed up. Still not fixed. We've complained. I know the town administrator was down there looking. We can't get them fixed. And I don't understand. Why not? I understand money is an issue, but this has been going on now for 10 years. I don't understand why we can't get them fixed down there. It's like, and I'll be right up front, it's like Valley View is scum of the town. We don't get, I just feel that we get left out on a lot of things. 5 years ago, the water lines broke down there. We're still waiting for parking lines, or for parking space lines to be put back down. My biggest complaint, the water issue. Yep, you guys fixed the upper part of my yard, but you didn't fix the lower part. My yard is now being washed away because of the water that's coming down through the bottom part of my yard. All my tree roots are showing up. I've got 6 inches of dirt going. I don't know, I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix it, because it's coming from the school bus driveway down, and it really needs to be looked into.
Hey, I have gotten your emails, Brenda. I wasn't ignoring you or anything. I hope you've gotten my responses, but
I haven't been home for a couple months. I just got back home, so I haven't really had time to get into looking
I
at
have,
my emails.
and I when I got into office, I created a spreadsheet because I was getting so many emails from residents of issues that had been going on for a while and hadn't not been done. So, and I share it with Ron all the time. And I'm sorry if we hadn't got out there and done anything just yet, unfortunately. And I won't make excuses that this happened because of, that happened because of it. But all I can say is it's bear with me, because every time we turn around, not for an excuse, but we're finding another catastrophe that somebody in the past, under other town administrators and other commissioners, seen fit at that time to do shoddy work. Thus, what we're dealing with on Ryan Drive, that's now coming out of the current resident's pocket. Last week, we had a resident from Brian's Grace, brand new neighborhood, come over and bring us pictures, and Jane met us over there, and we had a brand new storm drain that was ready to just cave in because it had washed away, and then finally a hole opened up, and that was something that a child or a car could have went into that we had to jump on and change schedules to fix.
Well, that's like when they put the upper drain, when they fixed the upper drain the first time, Brock's did the work. Well, the gentleman, when I come home from work, they told me my whole backyard was nothing but a sinkhole, because when they started digging, the ground just started caving in. I have grandchildren that play in that backyard.
Yeah.
my clothesline's out there. I mean, God forbid if I go out there and I fall through. I mean, the sinkhole opens up and I go down. So, I mean, and I understand that the budget can be an issue and all like that, but this has been going on for 12, 13 years.
I understand your frustration, and hopefully, under my time with the town and the streets and sidewalk thing, we can get it resolved. A couple of more residents here tonight in a brand-new neighborhood, due to shoddy workmanship, had a cave-in of a stormwater culvert because it was not installed properly. Brand-new neighborhood.
Well, I know ours on the one side
Yeah.
caved in, and I'll be right up front. Meadows is the one that did the work. He needs to be coming back out and fixing it.
A different member of the Meadows family that works with us now does great work.
He's the one that did the work.
That I can't verify.
Yeah,
But
he's the one that did the work.
you know,
Believe me.
we've had a lot of buddy system around here doing stuff and doing it substandard, for lack of saying what I really want to say. And,
Yeah, because
we're trying
when
to,
they redid these sidewalks,
Yeah.
my husband broke his leg because they cemented both of our gates at the same time. They were both wet. He had a doctor's appointment. He went to go over the fence and he broke his leg because of it. God forbid, he's no longer here to be able to say that, but that's what happened.
okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. William Barr?
My name's William Barr. I live in Valley View too. A couple of weeks ago, we got a paper stuck in our door about trash can removal off the streets and sidewalks. They're set out for the trash people, and the trash people leave it there. I'm fortunate because I'm pretty much handicapped. I can't take it back. We don't have enough room in our front yard. And to put them, if you think I'm going to put them in my backyard, it ain't happening. Well, I've lived in this town for 30-some years, and we have never had to take our trash cans off the sidewalks. The ordinance says snow removal in 24 hours. It says nothing in any town ordinance that says trash cans have to be removed. And the notice I got, not one of you town council or the mayor signed that paper.
Are residents in wheelchairs able to get past these trash cans if they come down the sidewalk?
There's not even handicap sidewalks down there except on my corner.
When you say a handicap sidewalk, do you mean width or ramp accessibility?
Yeah, there's only one, and that's at the end of Bond
Yeah.
Street. There are
Because,
no-
we do get a lot of residents in here that live in another development that need to go to the stores that are in motorized wheelchairs. And we get a lot of, I hate to say the word complaints, and some of it's the trash company. They'll dump the trash and put the trash can right in the middle of the sidewalk, and then the motorized wheelchairs, either knock them into the street or can't get around them at all. But that was my concern. If they're still out on the sidewalk, are wheelchairs able to get around them?
How many other developments in this town have you sent this notice to? All the developments or just Valley View?
Can I comment on this? I'm going to be honest with you. I think some of this is really getting out of context. First of all, the notice that everyone in Valley View got was generated, because I've always said this, that there's a lot of dissension in Valley View itself. We get a ton of complaints from Valley View residents about other Valley View residents. Yeah. And they come and they complain to us, and they complained about the fact that they're leaving their trash cans out. That notice that was sent to the residents did not say you had to take it to your backyard. It said it cannot be left out in the parking space and it can't block the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do have an ordinance that says you are not allowed to block a sidewalk.
I would like to have a copy of that.
Okay, but the point is that we got bombarded by people that were really angry, thinking that we targeted them specifically, and that we told them to remove it. I had one individual tell me she had to go down across the creek, through the backyard, over a fence. That's not what that letter said.
Yeah.
It just said don't leave it out in the parking spaces, because when those parking spaces are blocked, it's Valley View residents who call us complaining, wanting to know why we're letting other Valley View residents block the parking spaces. So all that notice said is, don't leave it in the parking spaces and don't block the sidewalk. That's all it
It's
was.
not-
So I want to clarify that.
No.
We're not asking people to drag it behind the houses. We're just saying, don't leave it in the parking
Well,
spaces.
Where do you suggest we put it then?
Let me ask you this: where do you put it when you go to put your trash bag in it at nighttime? Where is the can located at? In your front yard?
No, sitting on the sidewalk. That's where it's been for 37 years.
The-
I know poor people that complained, and one of them sets her trash can in the back field behind Valley View. So she ain't got a complaint.
Okay, so I'm asking, and this, I'm going to borrow Commissioner Arthur's thing about, believe me, I'm not trying to make excuses, but we have an obligation to respond to residents. And when residents call and complain to us that they can't park in their spaces and people are blocking the sidewalk, we have to do something. You've never seen us come down there and randomly just enforce and say, you've done this wrong. We respond to people who say this is getting out of hand, and we send a friendly little notice that says, don't put it on the sidewalk and don't put it in the driveway. There are some people who don't put it on the sidewalk. They put it in their front yard. Obviously, there are some people who choose not to put it in their front yard. They leave it out on the sidewalk. I'm going to sit here and tell you, are we going down there flagging people that are leaving them out half on the sidewalk? No. But do we have an obligation to respond when other residents say, I can't get up and down the sidewalk? We have to respond to it. As for the handicap accessibility, and I'll say this, that whole development from a sidewalk standpoint was totally messed up from the beginning on the design, because even if you put a handicap access ramp, you have sidewalks that end at like a 2-foot drop-off there. There's no rhyme or reason to how that was all constructed. So, Ms. Maynard, one of the things I've always said to you, we would be more than happy to meet with the residents of Valley View and talk about ways to correct the parking, ways to correct a lot of stuff. But you yourself have even said getting people to organize and want to do that, that's our difficulty. So I think the board would tell you right now, you get people together, they'll sit here, they'll entertain the discussions, and we'll come up with a way that satisfies everybody. But we can always satisfy half the people, and then they come up and complain about the parking and the sidewalk. And
It's just Bill and I that come up,
Yeah.
nobody else. And if you say anything, it's like,
so I'll say that I think it's great you guys come up, but it's not, this elected body is not ignoring Valley View. There's a lot of stuff that takes place in Valley View. There's a lot of money that has been spent on that drainage behind your property and the fence and everything. There's a lot of,
understand that, but now
yes.
I'm having a problem with
I understand that, but what we need to do is to get an organized effort between both, the elected body and the residents of Valley View. Let's get people together and talk about these things once and for all and solve them. I'm serious about it. Let's solve them.
when we had the parking issues and, the police commissioner and you were willing to come down.
Yeah.
I went around and I asked people. Nobody wanted to get involved.
Yeah,
You know, and that's what I don't understand. You understand your complaint, but you don't want to help the situation.
yeah.
But like I said, it seems like Bill, Lynn, and I are the only ones that want to come up here and say anything.
Yeah. I mean, arrange for a meeting, and I'm sure the board would be happy to sit with people and try to get this resolved. Air everything out, give us all the complaints, and we'll see what we can do to resolve it.
We don't want it to, it's not a place to get loud and screaming matches. Nothing's going to get resolved except we're going to end the meeting like that quickly. Trying to resolve a lot of today's issues with older developments in town, and this is not an excuse, they're not cheap, they're going to cost money. They're going to cost the residents of the town today money because the developers and the contractors worked under them in the past that did poor development just to get it done and line their pockets and have disappeared. It's not hurting them now, it's hurting our tax base now, and we constantly are dipping into it for unexpected catastrophes that just as we get a step ahead, drive us 2 steps back, such as, what's happened to the residents on Ryan Drive. And as Calvin said, we're not telling you, you've got to put your trash cans in the backyard. You know, you, with your physical disability, you need to put them where it's convenient for you. And we know, and we've seen this a lot of times, when you put them out in the trash, people dump them, they leave them where they leave them. I'm going to say something in their defense, because every year I give my trash man and my recycle guy a $5 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts, and they will put my trash cans back up in my next to my house. It's not a very far walk, but it makes a difference. But many of them, you know, they'll come down our street and blow a hydraulic hose, and we got a giant oil spot that everybody's tracking up and down. So, you know, getting them to put them someplace where they're not blocking a parking space or a sidewalk, that's another fight that we can always take to whoever our contractor is at that time. But I think what Calvin said is, don't misunderstand. We're not saying you have to put them here. Just please put them where they're not blocking the sidewalks or the parking spaces. Because if it's worked for you for this many years and now it's a problem, it's, as he said, we didn't just come down to Target. Somebody called and complained and doesn't want to feel ignored, you know, that we need to make some type of action. So, you know, don't think we're picking on you, or that this board sitting here today does not have that opinion of Valley View that you expressed a while ago. We're all very empathetic to what older communities in this town have facing them, that we wish we could do a lot more about, and we didn't, that we had more money in the bank that we didn't have to spend on past legal money wasting efforts that we had in this town. We'd be able to take care of things a lot quicker. So I apologize if you felt you were being targeted with that, because you were not. We're just asking, you don't have to move them back to your backyard, but put them where it saves the parking space and people walking. Because then the next group, like I said, that's been the group that's come up, is now trash cans are blocking, I can't get by on my wheelchair, or with some type of disability that makes access tough.
So if we do have an issue down there, and I live on the corner, people 2 doors next to me, they've been putting their trash cans out into my backyard, which I don't have an issue. But I am having an issue now when I have bathroom cabinets left out for 2 or 3 weeks, medicine cabinets, cat toys.
Are these left out for the trash,
Yes,
or?
and it's not on Thursday nights, it's from a Monday to Friday. And then I got up Friday, and Calvin knows how I feel about my fence, because I fought long and hard for it. Here's the mattress and box springs pushed up against it. Oh yeah, I was not happy. But that's not, I understand, but do I just call you guys and complain, or should I say something to the residents and say, hey, don't put it? I don't mind them putting it there.
Call us. We've got the kind of things you're talking about. Some of the residents might remember. We had one resident down there that I think was selling her house or something, and she piled something like, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet tall. And every time we went down there to try to say something, she said, oh, it's not mine. She blamed other residents for dumping on her pile. And then I thought some of the residents got real creative. They started writing her address on all of the pieces of garbage and trash that were down there to make it clear to us. And we did. We sat down there and babysitted her for like 2 hours and made sure she picked up. The chief dealt with her a lot. We made sure she picked up every bag and hauled it out of there. So give us a call when you have those issues.
So I'll talk to you after the
Yeah.
meeting, because I
Okay.
Second thing, when Valley View was redone, new sidewalks were installed, and the residents had to pay for the sidewalks. Now that all that's been rescinded, that they don't have to pay for the sidewalks. What happens to the residents who paid the money into the town? That should be refunded. If you rescind that, the money should be returned to the residents that paid, if you're gonna let it go.
Board, can I give the history on that for you real quick?
Please.
There is an ordinance, there was an ordinance that said that all residents had to pay for 50% of
true.
sidewalk repairs. And that ordinance was enforced until this town started getting monies, specifically grant monies on Queen Street. And the elected body at that time realized that's going to be a difficult thing to do, of telling people on Queen Street that the town got grant money from the state, but yet they still have to pay for a sidewalk that might not have been defective from the get-go. And so the town back in 2009, the elected body decided, all right, from this point forward, we're not going to continue to collect money from folks. The elected body would be the one who would have to answer the question, but, and this is going to sound like I'm making an excuse, but there's always a starting point and an ending point when you have certain things. And the example I give, and we'd all love to hear this, what if the town decided to no longer charge people for sewer and water? Would you go back and give everybody their money back that paid all the sewer and water? At that particular time, that's how the town paid for sidewalk repairs, is by having residents pay 50% of it. We put ourselves in a position over the last couple of years that we no longer need to do that. So on one hand, the residents, unless the elected body chooses different, would not give a refund, but they're not going to continue to bill those residents who technically have not paid all their money. They haven't been billing anybody.
So basically, we gave you money, free money.
No, you had your
Yeah,
sidewalk
we did,
repaired.
because it came out of our pocket, and now you make new laws. It's not fair to the residents.
You got something for the money. You got the sidewalk put in.
Well, yeah.
It might not have been done without the benefit of the residents.
Yeah, but you do away with the law. You do away with all your, and we paid for it. So you took money from us.
You paid for half of it.
That's right, we paid for half of it.
I was also billed for sidewalk repair.
That's true.
In the past. I do not expect the town to refund that money to me.
No, that's your opinion.
Can I
You got
answer-
right your opinion, but you change the laws to suit yourselves, in this body.
But one of the things you can do about that is to run for office and sit up here like the rest of us did.
Now, I don't want to be part of the office.
Okay.
No. I wouldn't want to put myself in a position like that, because I could never do half of what this board does. And you want to start with crooked, it all starts in town hall. That's all I got to say.
Dee Hensley?
I'll pass it out, thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is staff reports. Chief of Police?
I'm not going to have a lengthy report tonight because, as you all know, we're doing some transitioning in the police department. What I did do is I provided you with a call summary for the last 2 weeks. So if there's no questions, that's pretty much going to be my report for this period.
Thank you. Town Administrator?
Yeah, the only thing that I'll jump back on the finances, Patricia Wagner's not feeling well tonight. We're also in the final stages of the audit. So once the audit is completely done, she'll be able to give June's financial statements and then pick up July and August at our next meeting. A couple quick things that I have to sort of elaborate a little bit on what Commissioner Auchenreith was saying is that the three phases, when Commissioner Auchenreith talked about a lot of legal jargon in there, it's because we want to hold out the hope that we will get USDA to give us grant money in the future. And if we proceed with the bid specs meeting their requirements, Commissioner Walker, you're familiar with all that paperwork. If we jump through the hoops that they require in terms of how we procure the services, that grant money can be paid retroactively back to cover the work that KCI is doing and the work that we're going to be doing in Ryan Drive on the upper half. So we're making sure that we're meeting USDA guidelines because the town did not qualify for grant money to do the entire Ryan Drive project. The second thing, and Commissioner Scully can elaborate on this, is we have moved forward with the acquisition of the police cars is covered in the budget and also the public works vehicles. There, Commissioner Warnick was able to locate some leasing that turned out to be very favorable compared to us taking a loan, and it's much better for the town to be able to realize the goal of getting new police cars. The settlement with USDA for the sewage treatment plant, that's now Commissioner Walker scheduled to take place September 10th. It was going to be August something, then it moved to September 3rd. Now it's September 10th, to give you an update on the settlement on that. As I said, the audit is coming towards the tail end. We have one new business coming to town, Street Lamp Productions at 5 Valley View Road in the old R Brooks, where R Brooks used to be located at. They're moving into that location, so you're going to be seeing a lot of renovation work being done on the inside. Townhouse Restaurant has at least one entity that is interested in purchasing the restaurant, and they have some pretty big plans of what they want to do. They're not ready to go public with it yet, but they want to come in and talk to us, talk to me specifically about the building code requirements and what they need to do there. You might have read in the paper, and unfortunately, we had not had the last couple of meetings, so we did have an intern here from Frostburg University who was majoring in some education very similar to municipal government, so she worked here for a while. She worked here a couple days a week. She worked on some ordinances and old land development files and processing paperwork. She learned how to take utility billing, and she learned how to do a variety of things associated with municipal government. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We have no mayor's report. Historical Preservation Commission report. No report. Any old business? Any new business? Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Auchenreith?
Mostly what I had tonight, Commissioner Walker, was the contract for KCI. And once again, I'll say to the residents of Ryan Drive, we'll be back up there soon, getting that street back into good shape. And it will also be done to the proper specifications this time. I had some other things, but I'm going to withhold that at this time. I would, go ahead. Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you. Commissioner Scully?
I will tag on to what Town Administrator said about 2 new police cars and taking care of some mechanical issues that are causing safety issues for the police officers, and they're cost prohibitive to repair. So replacement of those vehicles, and thanking Commissioner Warnick, for the looking for the financing. Thank you. Right? The financing arrangements that also allow us to look forward to replacement. Police vehicles need to be replaced more often than other vehicles. So in multiple years, we'll be able to replace them in a rolling cycle with a very attractive financing package. So keeping the replacement going, too, is not nearly enough of what needs to be replaced, but that's what we're going to do right now. And welcoming the Sergeant, Chris Circus, I said his last name correctly, had an opportunity to meet him, and he's going to be a very good complement to the skills and talent that we already possess within the police department. So looking forward to that team working very well together. And I'll conclude my report with requesting an executive session for immediately following this meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and pending litigation.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for an executive session immediately following this meeting. Any comments?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll continue with the meeting, and then we'll go into executive session, and then we will here to finish our meeting, the regular meeting.
Commissioner Walker, something just threw me for a loop when I realized that Travis is not here. He did have something that he had to bring up tonight. You guys need to appoint election judges for the upcoming election. And I have the names here that we've researched that they are available and willing to be election judges. If you'd like, I could read those out, and then you guys could make it in the form of a motion.
If you would.
Okay. Election judges shall serve for 2 years. All of these judges have been checked out. They are residents of the town of Rising Sun, and they are active registered voters listed in the town of Rising Sun. Stephen Miller, Melissa Copenhaver, Mary Lou Benjamin, and Kimberly Widener are the 4. In our charter, we are required to have 3 and a 4th one as an alternate. And if you make the motion for that, they would serve for 2 years.
I will make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Walker, the other thing that the mayor would have been doing would be just as a friendly community service notice about the upcoming elections and the time to register and to run for office. If you'd like, I could read that out here.
If you would.
The town election is Monday, October 19th, 2015, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is when the polls will be open. The election will be held on the 3rd floor. There are 2 Board of Commissioners seats open in this election. These positions shall serve a term of 4 years to begin at the first meeting in November of 2015 and shall serve until the first meeting in November of 2019. Anyone wishing to be considered as a candidate must be a citizen of the United States, at least 25 years of age at the time of their election to office, qualified voters of the town, and bona fide residents of said town for at least 1 year preceding the date of their election, and shall be free of any record of criminal violations other than minor traffic violations and other such minor misdemeanors punishable by fine only. Council members must maintain principal residence at the town during his or her term of office. If there is a change in principal residence from the town, the term of the elected office shall be immediately terminated, and the vacancy shall be filed or filled as provided. Any citizen of the town being otherwise qualified, as indicated herein, desires to be a candidate for the office of commissioner, must file in person and submit the necessary disclosure forms under the town's ethics code and complete a written certificate of candidacy for nomination form as provided by the election clerk no later than 6 p.m. September 18th, 2015. So in layman's term, anyone interested in running for office has until 6 p.m. September 18th, 2015 to submit all the necessary documentation. For voters, the last day to register and vote for absentee ballots. In order to be eligible to vote in town elections, you must be a citizen of the United States, at least 18 years of age, and a bona fide resident of the town for at least 30 days preceding any election. All qualified persons wishing to register to vote shall do so at the Cecil County Election Board and as provided for by state law. Any qualified persons registered and listed on the statewide voter registration list at an address within the incorporated limits of Rising Sun shall be considered registered town voters and shall be eligible to vote in town elections. Hours of voter registration shall be in accordance to Cecil County Election Board policy and state law. However, the final list of qualified registered voters for town elections, as established by the Cecil County Election Board, shall be closed and final 30 days prior to any upcoming town election. Therefore, the last day to register to vote in this October's election is September 18th, 2015. Write-in ballots. In order to comply with state and local ethics requirements and to ensure that all candidates are qualified to serve in office, write-in ballots will not be accepted in any election. Absentee ballots. Absentee voting shall be permitted in accordance with the provisions of Title IX of the election law. Person unable to come in person to pick up an application for an absentee ballot may select an agent who must first fill out an absentee ballot designation of agent form and submit to the town election clerk for approval. The last day to request an application for absentee ballot is October 13th, 2015. Provisional ballots will be provided at all town elections. So that's the details regarding being a candidate for office and being able to vote in any town elections.
Thank you. Commissioner Warnick?
Yeah, we, in the past, number of weeks. I'm not really sure exactly how long ago it was, but I think it was probably about 2 weeks ago. We had a group of the Rising Sun High School students from the that were out with the AP Environmental Sciences class back in May. A few of them came back about 2 weeks ago and helped Rupert Rossetti from the Octorara Watershed and Brian Leitner, who's actually he does some volunteer environmental work for the town. He's also a environmental planner for Hartford County, excuse me. And they did some cleanup of some invasive species as well as some molominate vines and a couple other things down at the dog park. We also did some other cleanup. We had some stakes left over from some of the tree plantings and stuff, and that's all been removed. The grass down there has been mowed in a more uniform pattern now too. So we've had a number of things happening at the dog park over the summer. All of the trees that were planted, thank goodness for all the rain this summer. We were afraid we were going to have to be watering them all summer, and we kind of lucked out, and Mother Nature did it for us. So that was worked out really well. The bridge at the Veterans Park was completed. That would have been like the second weekend of August. We completed a bridge down there in the non-wetlands portion. We've been meeting with Rupert to get the new stormwater management ponds and such that we're working on that project. We're starting to meet on that and get that moving forward and the agreement signed and everything. And hopefully we'll be moving forward on surveying and engineering in the next few weeks. Once the wetlands delineation assessment is done, then we should be able to apply for, also in conjunction, it's a separate project, but apply for the trail system, the work we're doing on the trail system in the wetlands area of Veterans Park. So there's quite a few things going on. There's a lot of moving parts, and we're trying to keep all the projects moving forward, even with the swampiness and the rain and everything that we've had in the parks. We do have a lot of wetlands, definitely, and it's been a muddy summer, but we're making progress. That's my report. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have much to say about the wastewater treatment plant, except that I'm very happy that it's operating, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. The water line is proceeding. Regarding the elections, the two positions that are up for election are Commissioner Scully's and my positions. Just to let you all know, I will not be running for re-election. So what we need is some good people to run for office who take what happens in here seriously and care about the town. The reason that I am not running again is because my health doesn't support me doing this anymore. In fact, I seriously considered resigning, but since I've only got a couple of months, I'll hang in for that. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. At this point, we voted. Go ahead.
Oh, I always forget this, Commissioner Walker, and forgive me. Our next Planning and Zoning Board meeting is September 21st. We meet here on the third floor at 6:30 p.m. It is an open meeting to the public just like this, and we would love to have you come, because nobody ever attends. As you said, Ms. Maynard, it's hard to get people involved, and we cover a lot of serious issues in the town that have to do with land development and code enforcement, and you are welcome to be here and see what goes on so that we can, you can see what's going on, that we're not as crooked as some lead us to believe. Am I correct, Sue and Pauline? I always seem to almost forget that. One other thing I'd like to add is I had hoped that you would have said more about our sewer plant. Friday, we all got together and pulled a golden rope to pull the plug to allow the new sewer plant to start discharging. And one thing I'd like to say, Jane and Lisa, you were there and I was there when they broke ground for that event. We had, Augie Pearson was there, and we had contacted a lot of past commissioners and mayors that were involved in this event since it started. But one thing that was overlooked was not enough credit was given to the person who's been there through all these commissioners and mayors from the very beginning, was our town administrator, Calvin, who spent a lot of time outside of work, at home, on the weekends, early in the mornings, and has been there since the beginning of this thing, and was there to where we pulled the plug the other day. Commissioner Warnick and I stuck around and got a full tour of the facility, and Calvin was there giving us an explanation of what went on, and I was really surprised that you knew more about it than our engineer who was there, who was overseeing this thing. So I just want to make sure that credit is given where credit is due to our town administrator. Thank you, Calvin, for being there from the very beginning, right up to when we started discharging, no longer into the lagoon, but into Stone Run. We are at the forefront of anybody in Cecil County with our stormwater management and our wastewater treatment plant. If you read in the paper, you'll see Port Deposit has one that's failing and may not make it through the winter. But we have a brand new one up and running, and Joanne, you were there. You know what's involved in this thing, and to see it finally, being there that day and seeing what's going on and seeing the technology that's there and all the hoops that had to be jumped through and everybody that had to be made happy throughout all the state and agencies. Like I said, not enough credit. A lot of complaints have been thrown at our town administrator, but I want to make sure he knows that I give him the credit that he deserves, because he was there from the first shovel to when we opened the valve Friday and started discharging, and it didn't have nowhere near the smell that we had in here last week when we came in for our P&Z meeting last Monday. Remember that? So if you smell something in this town, it's not our sewer treatment plant. Calvin? Thank you, Calvin. That's all, I'm sorry.
Very well said.
Okay. If we have nothing further, we'll go into executive session.
So we're not adjourning this meeting?
No, we're not adjourning.